Okay, so let's see, where do we have people? Karen, can you hold up our little chart so I can see it too? Yay! We've got people, issue chairs, we've got people in the audience, and we've got a lot of people still buying the ticket to the show. And so this is what we're hoping this will inspire you. So this is we have our lobby team group. I'm Ann Murphy, one of the co-chairs for our lobby team, and you will meet other lobby team people as we proceed through our production here. So write some things on the cards, use the card as we go through things if questions come up, and so we can work on those at the end. So, all right. We are going to begin. We'll go to the next slide, Amy. And now as we begin, and there'll be some nods to the infamous Bard here, again, welcome, as Peter Quince in A Midsummer Night's Dream asks, is all our company meant? And as you may remember, the character Jaques in William Shakespeare's comedy, As You Like It, reminds us that all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. And so today, we will look at the legislative process and the roles for all of us as players in this annual drama that takes place here in Washington State. So, how to get involved, how to audition for a part you want to play. Each one of us comes to this legislative theater in different ways. And you indicated that as you came into the theater, indicated the role you're playing right now. And we hope that you will want to consider exploring more ways to enhance that role when you leave here, because we always need more volunteers. We want to expand our team. We are going to open our curtain on Mary Ellen McCaffrey. You recognize that name, huh? And the clip we're going to see from, well, let me back up. It was in the late 50s, she began to increase her civic involvement. She tells the story in her book, Politics of the Possible, written with Ann McNamee Corbett. Mary Ellen's granddaughter, that you know, Allison McCaffrey, has inherited the passion for continuing the action. In 2017, Allison and Ann Corbett and Jane Fellows began a collaboration to produce a play entitled Many Maps, One Voice. Some of you may have seen it, but we're going to bring some of that to you today. And as we meet Mary Ellen in this clip, it's the late 50s, and she's busy dealing with a life as wife of Ken, a U of W professor, the mother of 5 school-age children with all of those demands, and involvement with her passion of securing funding for schools. We joined her on an early venture to Olympia. So the genesis of this movie was, I remember Allison coming to me with the Politics of the Possible book, and what more can we do with this? And so we hatched the idea of turning it into a play. And I said, I just happen to know an actress, and the actress is my sister. And so that began a collaboration that by then, Mary Ellen was gone. Allison had inherited all of this, and Ann McNamee Corbett was still around, and so they wrote the script. Jane helped bring it to life as a theater production. And are you ready? Okay, we will return to the action.
Ooh, we moms take turns. Some of us babysit, and some of us ride the bus to the Capitol to lobby. We're PTA moms, or League of Women Voters, or both. I am determined to hold our legislators to their constitutional obligation to fully fund our children's education. And Kitty Prince, Kitty wants to redistrict. Oh, Senator, thank you for seeing us. I'm here about school funding. Oh, my letter? Good. Well, yes, I know the budget today, and what I see is the problem is this. You see, they're the culprits. They write this budget, and then they never allot enough money for our schools. Their funding formula is flawed, and their revenue base is as rickety as a three-legged milking stool missing a leg. See, we don't have an income tax in this state. It's a sales tax and a property tax. That's two, not three, as in most states, which is why we parents and teachers and anyone who cares about our kids' education must beg our local property owners year after year to vote for another tax hike. Yes, please, it's for our kids, for their schooling. Oh, it isn't fair. It isn't smart. Kids are citizens. They're our future voters. They're our future leaders. They are our future. We ought to invest. Now, I've traced it to the source here in the budget, and then here, this revenue flaw. And polite as he can be, he listens, nods, says he couldn't agree more, and just like the three before him, he says, but my hands are tied. Oh, but at least this one offers advice. Before we can think about fixing school funding, we have to tackle Kitty's issue, redistricting. Come on, Kitty, let's go watch. Maybe we can find another way in. Oh, and the balcony gives us a bird's eye view of our legislators in action. What on earth? I mean, some are sitting at their desk, but the rest are milling around. It's the budget today. Isn't anyone listening? Where are our representatives? There. Oh, and him. Oh, yes, ladies. Oh, yes, school funding, yes. Oh, and the revenue base. A break? Now? And there they go, beyond those velvet drapes, to the caucus rooms behind those closed doors. One for the Democrats and one for the Republicans. What are they doing in there? Why don't they talk about it out here so we can all hear? Oh, here they come. And they vote? And nothing's changed. The real power must be behind those closed doors. Redistricting becomes my new passion to support my old one. Redistricting and reapportionment. I didn't know what it meant either until a neighbor invited me to a meeting down the street, the League of Women Voters. Oh, no tea and crooked pinkies and chit-chat. These are serious women, studious, driven, focused on things that matter. Kitty Prince on redistricting, Joan Thomas on local pollution. And for a woman who secretly loves her line item analysis, the League is a dream come true. We women study issues and policies, and then we do. We hold candidate forums, we educate voters, and we register voters too. We are watchdogs. We attend meetings and hearings, the school board and planning commissions, and the legislature. We lobby. We take positions to make a difference. And if our elected officials let us down, we take initiative. And our goal is simple: good government. Are we Democrat or Republican? No. The League is neither. Commies. No, I hate that rumor.
Okay, so that was Mary Ellen's start in dealing with issues. And she rattled off a number of things that you can do. And so at this point, I wanted to bring Karen Pesey. Where are you? She's our next speaker to share her modern story. Well, but Karen's coming to the podium, which is, I've really rearranged it up here, Karen. But wanted to let you know, Mary Ellen wound up being president of the Seattle League and then moved on into the legislature. And we're going to revisit her in another clip a little bit later. So, Karen Pesey.
I'm Karen Pesey. I'm the Criminal Justice Issue Chair for the Washington League. And when I joined the League, I kind of got roped in. I didn't know much about it. And I got roped in by Deb Karstens, another member. And I became so enthralled with the potential of the League of Women Voters. And the Seattle King County League is amazing to begin with. I didn't think I would fit in, but it's like a family. And you can take as much as you want to do the work. You could do small pieces, you could jump in. I became issue chair last year, and it's just phenomenal, the opportunities that are there and the rewards that you can receive just by making relationships with community members, different organizations. And I did a lot of testimony last session, and I will say every single time there was a 60-second testimony, or they had 60 to 90 people signed up to testify on the bill, League of Women Voters was always first to testify. The legislators make sure that we're able to give our testimony. They listen to us, they appreciate us. They just really believe in the League. So it's very rewarding, and I would recommend to any of you to pick up an issue that speaks to your heart and follow your heart and begin working on it. It's a wonderful thing. You would enjoy it.
Right. And so now we want to introduce you to a larger cast of characters, because we are all characters, right? So those of you that are speaking in this next part, as we introduce our cast, come on up. The cast actually starts with the playwright. So come on up while I'm talking, and there's stairs over here so that we're trying to be very cognizant of the time here. It originates with the playwright, and you as members are part of that playwriting process, because the League comes to these positions that Karen referred to and that Mary Ellen referred to by study, the membership studies, and that many of you are aware of, and it develops our program in action so that we can make these action statements as well. So our cast, and then these cast members are going to use those positions in the action that we're talking about. So Karen, you're the first one as the issue chair, and do you have more you want to say about being the issue chair?
We're not starting yet.
No, you're still here. You were supposed to write that part. I think you told everyone about the issue chair.
Issue chair is amazing. I highly recommend all of you look into it. If you don't want to take on an issue chair position, become an advocate for an issue that you really want.
Okay, so they're the lead on a particular issue. Karen is one of them, and we have, gosh, I forget how many we have, Marty. But we have issue chairs in our three arenas of social policy, environment, and Democracy, that little thing called democracy. Okay. And we've heard, you're hearing this term advocate.
I'm Karen Wickard, and I'm an advocate on the Green Team, which is part of the Lobby for Environment. And as an advocate, what do? Pretty much anything that an issue chair would like me to do or that I'm capable of doing. I can write testimony, I can read things that they provide to me, I can go to meetings of affiliated organizations, I can listen to testimony because, by the way, there's a fair amount of testimony. I can look at bills, even more bills, and bring those issues to my issue chair, which she was my issue chair, or is my issue chair. Yeah, still yet, exactly. She hasn't let me go yet.
Each one of our issue chairs will have people working with them, so it's not like you're jumping off the deep end right away. We've already jumped in for you as issue chairs. And the next one, team coordinators, the 3 teams that I mentioned. I'm the coordinator for the Green Team, and
Allison
has a
is
microphone.
coordinator for the Democracy Issues team.
And I'm Karen Tweet, and I'm the issue chair for the Social and Economic Policy Issue Team. And just to say a little about what we do, it's during the session we will coordinate, make sure that we're coordinated on our positions on bills, reading bills the same way. But it doesn't stop at the end of the legislative session. So our team was charged with doing the work on creating materials and strategy around the League's opposition to a couple of the initiatives. The Parents' Rights Initiative, which would undo carefully crafted language that the 2025 legislature did, and 26638, which would require gender verification of all girls participating in school sports in Washington State. So we have very much worked on the materials and strategy as a team.
And I'm Marty Gibbons. I do the climate crisis and energy issues under Ann's leadership. I also co-lead the whole team. You're the Green Team coordinator. And
Chart says.
And that's what the chart says. And but I was elected to the board of directors for the State League a couple years ago, and at that time, Cynthia Stewart was the State League portfolio director for advocacy. And Cynthia was truly a remarkable person. She handled a lot, I think 4 issues on the lobby team, and just did an amazing amount of work. But with her passing, we had to figure out how we were going to carry on with the lobby team and advocacy. So I took over the advocacy role at the State League. And so we're helping local leagues with their advocacy problems. And I make sure the lobby team is adhering to our league positions, and we can't advocate for something just because we think it's a good idea. We have all those studies we've done over the last decades and the positions that we concurred on as members of the state, everybody in the State League. And that's what we use to advocate. That's the criteria for what bills we select to advocate for or against, and how we make those points with the legislators, the committees, and perhaps even state departments and such if we do that. So I think that's all I have to say now.
And this is just part of the cast. We have about 13, 15 more, and now the final part of the cast is you as member activists. And so we want to bring our drama to a close as you respond to various all of you help bring the drama to a close as you respond to various requests we make of all of you members to communicate with legislators and other members. And so we want to explore a little bit more, and we're going to just introduce the next film clip from Many Maps, One Voice. And I'll just do it, Marty, or you can do it. You're right there. Well, I'll just do it. In this clip, we'll see a brief explanation of a bill passing and the frustration in the process that can go with it sometimes. So we'll see this clip. So we'll cue it up, we'll get the lights, and you can, how many of you have been a member activist, have taken action when we've asked for it? Yay, thank you. And we hope that as we go through our drama, that it will become more clear what you can do this coming year. Okay, we're good. So you can exit the stage, folks. And Amy will show our next clip.
Oh, that is a tall order. Oh, redistricting, tax reform. And
By now,
then
of
our
course, she's
children's
in the
education.
legislature.
Redistricting, tax reform, and then our children's education. And our plan is ready. Slade, will you introduce it? Dan? Joel? Day 32.
Representative McCaffrey.
This bill represents a bipartisan effort to legally redraw the legislative seats in our state, and I urge that the House approve it. I did it. Oh, and now it goes back to my committee and Slade's for fine-tuning, and 20 days later, evening session, day 52, my bill finally takes center stage. I answer the questions district by district, less contentious ones first and stickiest ones last, and at midnight we are still at it. We cover the clock to keep the day alive, and at 12:35 we have our bill. Tomorrow morning we will vote on it. Day 53. My bill passes the House 55-44, and off it goes to the Senate, where Senator Grieve is in charge. And they sent it to their redistricting committee. And there it dies. The session ends. Ken comes down for the weekend, and he leaves with the girls. He leaves me alone. The session is over, but our work is not done. A special session begins on Monday. We have two jobs. One, pass a state budget and finally fully fund our schools. And two, redistrict, or at the very least prevent another grievous gerrymander.
Representative McCaffrey.
I present House Bill 56, the redistricting and reapportionment of the state of Washington, and declare this an emergency. The bill passes the House, and off it goes to the Senate and comes back scalped and replaced with Grieve's redistricting. O'Brien moves that we accept it, and Slade moves that we don't. We vote on both and reject the scalp a coalition holds. Sorry, O'Brien. But since the Senate didn't like my bill and we rejected their changes, the bill now goes to a conference committee of 6, 3 from the House, 3 from the Senate. A group we never hear from again. Rest in peace, redistricting. Oh, we do pass a budget. We do not fully fund our schools. April 6th, our final day. The massive doors to the House swing wide, and across the rotunda, the Senate doors too.
The 38th session of the Washington State Legislature is hereby adjourned.
And our legislators can be as equally frustrated as we are as we work through bills. I meant to have the disclaimer, of course, that some of the language from this was, what did we figure, 62 or 63? Anyway, early 60s when Mary Ellen was first elected. And so that was, and the names, in case you didn't, Slade Gordon, Dan Evans, Joel Pritchard, they're stalwarts in the history of the Washington legislature, and she was part of the group, the DGOTS, that worked on this. So anyway, if you need more questions about what Mary Ellen did, Allison's got her book on the table over there, right? Yeah. So now we're going to move into our breakout sessions. And so we've got 3 different breakouts. So where are you being? Marty is over here with local action. So if you're a local action chair or want to talk about action in your local league, how you can do things, whether it's on a local issue or work on a state issue, go meet over at that table. Karen Wickert is over here defining the role of advocate. We've got Karen, and Karen that are going to talk with you about being an advocate. And at the front table, we have Allison with engaging people to action. So come join a table. We've got about 20 minutes that we'll spend in whatever they have to present with you, share with you, you share back, ask questions. Take your 3x5 cards with you. Write things down on that in case you want to bring that back to our final closing session. So about 20 minutes, folks. Okay, let's go ahead and gather back. And if you have one startling piece of information you'd like to share from your group, we will do that in about 25 words or less. So come on back up to the front of the room so we can finish up our production. I love it when nobody pays attention. They want to keep talking. Okay, clap once. Okay, it's this one. Okay, come on forward. Please, we've got, huh? And have one person ready to say one thing from your group that really stood out, that can be really quick. And I need my cast of characters up here to finish our little play. Actually, at this point, I know we have. We've got to get back to it because we've got a drama to cover in 3 acts here. So I'm going to just start and we'll get, well, Marty, are you ready to report one startling thing?
I will report one startling thing that happened in our play. You know, they say if in Act 1, if a pistol is mounted on the wall, in Act 2, it must be used. But, sorry, it's a famous gun reference. I think it's Chekhov or somebody. But we were talking about taking action at the local level, and I know that is puzzling. How far can we take it? Who can do it? Can only the president advocate for a position or something? But and also we have new members coming in. Our membership statewide, I know, has increased about 600 or 700 by now in the last year, or last year and a half. And so new members are coming in and want to do something. And the local leagues could, if they have some projects ready to go that a local league member that maybe is just getting started could start on, or a group, and possibly it's go to the city council or county council meetings, and Observer Corps is one thing, but also you could interview the members of the county council and ask them, how do they feel about these issues? Or do a quick study on what's going on in the local league. But I will pass out a list of ideas at this. I made a list for the state level, really, issues, but they might inspire you what projects you might initiate at the local level to carry through with some advocacy at the local level.
Okay, Karen Tweet.
I guess I can report.
Just one thing that came up from your group.
One thing that came up from the group on being an advocate is actually two things. One is that you help during the session, and the sessions are 120 days, 60 days, depending upon the year. So that can be a commitment, but it is the commitment to do what it is that you're interested in with what you can provide to your issue chair. So almost anything that you do as an advocate to help your issue chair is great. So that's the most important thing. And also Karen, I'm Karen.
We were the Karens. Karen Peasy, Karen Weichert, and Karen Tweet. I just wanted to say, and I consulted with Nathaniel back there about the themes in our group, and one of the things that came up a bunch was the importance of coordinating within teams and across teams, and how overlapping many issues are.
Allison,
Thank you, my group. Feisty, good conversation. So we were talking about how do you get people to take action? What's stopping folks? And of course, they kept backing me up to say, wait, let's start back at the beginning. So some great ideas about where we ended up was, what do we send to new members around action, about what are the first steps? What are the categories in which you might want to take action? And I was telling them, what keeps you up at night? What are you frustrated with? That's the thing to work on. And pick one. You can do a different one next year, but let's do one this year, right? So how do we take that kernel of information and get people to use the league as their vehicle to make it happen? So we had lots of great ideas, between YouTube podcasts to, apps on your phone, all those kinds of things. I think what we're living in is a world where everybody is designing their life a different way. And if we really want to reach the most number of people, we as the organization have to really be multimodal. And we're getting that same message out, and we're pulling people in from lots and lots of places. And it's challenging as an organization, but I think it's the reality of the world.
Okay, so we're going to launch into our play. Let's move ahead, Amy. I think we might skip this slide, so let's see it. Oh, okay. The play is the thing. Karen Tweet, you're on next here, so come on up. So we've got our cast here, and we are going to run through this whole thing very quickly. So return to the theater. The play is the thing, wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king, is a famous quote from William Shakespeare. So this is our play. It signifies his plan, or Shakespeare's plan, was to prove that the king Claudius had murdered his father. The play is the thing indicates that theater is a perfect medium to provoke a guilty conscience and reveal the truth. So with apologies to Shakespeare's Hamlet, we'll look at the upcoming lobby season as a play. Our purpose here is not to prove a murder or reveal hidden guilt, but to explain the flow of the legislative action process. In the work to achieve legislative goals, the lobby team members are active in varying degrees throughout the year, as it fits with their lives, family, other work, vacations, and even gliding. As we progress through our play, we will spotlight where action related to the budget happens, as well as audience participation moments. So those are things for you as audience activists at this point to pay attention to and see where you might fit in. So Karen Tweet, you are up on production preparation.
So the initiatives?
Yeah.
Okay. I promise I didn't murder anybody. So I touched on the two initiatives that we know are going to be on the ballot in November. There were two initiatives that had adequate signatures to be referred to the legislature in January, but the legislature chose not to act on them. And those will definitely be on your ballot. The league has taken a position in opposition to them. We have endorsed the No Hate in Washington campaign. So Karen Crowley's name will likely be on the issue statements in your voter pamphlets on these two initiatives. So there's initiative to the legislature 26001 that has to do with parent rights. And the 2025 legislature carefully crafted language and that kind of fixed some problems in the initiative. It gets complicated, I'm sorry.
And so let's skip the complicated right
Okay.
now. I want you to hit the high spots of what
Okay.
happens in the interim.
What am I doing in the interim? Well, on these initiatives, we have been developing issue papers. So initiative 001, which is the one about parents' rights, and 26638 is the one about girls having to demonstrate their gender in order to participate in sports. We have issue papers done. We will be creating a web page. We will be getting information out to local leagues, and we hope that you will consider including it in the tabling you do.
Okay, right. Right. So,
And then the other two, there's two, one that has to do with voting and enhanced verification for registering. So that's 26,500. And then 2645 would repeal the millionaire's tax. People are out around the state collecting signatures. They need over 300,000 signatures to get that on the ballot in November. And they have to have those signatures by July 2nd. So our message is refuse to sign.
decline to sign.
Decline to
Decline to
sign.
sign. Okay, we're going to move on quickly. Other things that happen in the interim will be our League of Women Voters Action Workshop that'll be in November, and then in early December, although we heard one of our speakers today say they start they start filing bills, pre-filed bills, and there will be committee days for the legislative committees in early December in Olympia. And let's hit the animation, Amy, because we look at the governor's budget comes out in mid-December, so we always scramble to look and see what the governor is proposing, and then the audience participation is to identify bills that address your passions and concerns, so you can figure out what you want to follow. And now, Karen Pesey, you're up.
This is for opening night. Everyone finally arrives for opening night. This production will be open on Monday, January 11th, 2027. This session will have a regular run of 105 days, known as the long session. The sequel or short session will have its run starting January 10th, 2028. The place for the action is in the legislative buildings in Capitol Campus in Olympia. Legislators will hold some town hall meetings in their districts. Other meetings will be virtual. Prologue, opening day with proclamations and rules of engagement happen in the Capitol. Run of the play. The next slides will take you through the acts of the play. There's the opportunity for audience participation both in the hearing rooms and on campus, as well as virtual participation. Audience participation. To help with your participation, Legislative Action Newsletter begins publishing every Sunday of the session. Read it for info on bills you care about and for any action alerts or responses. And that's something that's really needed for everyone to actually open the legislative newsletter. And it has direct clicks. You click on the button.
Okay, thanks, Karen. We're going to move on. Okay, slide act. Well, what are we doing? Yeah, I know, but we just got a request for something. Can we do it at the end? All right, Act 2 is Marty.
And Act 2 or Act 1?
Act 1.
Act 1 is where the action really starts after the bills are pre-filed, and every bill has to have a sponsor, a legislative sponsor, and then they are referred to a committee, a policy committee, where the committee, such as the Environment Committee, and mostly in my case, will decide if it's good to go forward, and they'll have hearings and vote, and then the bill will pass out. And if it's got a money issue with it, such as a lot of spending, it has to have a fiscal note prepared by the Department of Financial Management at the state. And then it will go, and we're talking about one chamber, like the Senate or the House, and it will go to a financial committee for consideration, such as appropriations, Ways and Means. Ways and Means is in the Senate, appropriations is in the House, or perhaps the Transportation Committee. And then if it passes the Fiscal Committee, the bills go to the Rules Committee, and then they decide whether it's really going to go to the floor for a vote. And a lot of bills die in this process in the first chamber. So I think usually there are 2,000 or 3,000 bills introduced over the course of a 2-year biennium, and only about 300 make it out altogether. But this is really, Act 1 is the first filter, such as bills introduced in the House have to pass through the House. Bills introduced in the Senate have to pass to the Senate. So then the bill goes on to Act 2.
But before Act 2, a chance for audience participation that we've used in the last several years is Lobby Week. And so watch for that for an opportunity to be able to participate with issue chairs and also then testify, talk to your legislators about those bills that we are focusing on for the league. So we'll go to Act 2 for Karen.
Act 2, after all of that, has gone through that complexity that Marty described in the first chamber. You start over in the other one. And basically, that's going to take over the next 95 days. This is for this upcoming session. So they go to the appropriate policy committee on the other side, then they have to go through the same process. They go to the rules, and then they kind of die, or they don't die, or whatever it is. And they have to be considered to be approved or not approved by the second chamber. So they have to be, put on the floor, and everybody votes. And then there is this thing that's the best part and the most complicated, as far as I'm concerned, and that is the budget.
The budget.
Where is it? It's like this huge thing that comes, the preliminary budgets, and then, yes, right, anyway, so the budgets. There you go, rinse and repeat, do it all over again. So basically, what happens, I don't know if you guys have read the things that come out. You get this newsletter, and it says you have to call about a bill, or you can, one of the really nice things is you can actually go to a bill and you can say yay or nay to whether you support it or don't support it as an individual. And by the way, as people who aren't part of the, aren't provided the, like, you know, anointment of being an issue chair, you have to just do it as an individual. You don't do it as a member of the league, which is great because that means a ton of people are saying yay or nay to bills that we're asking. So you do that in that first chamber, and guess what? You get to do it again in the second chamber. So basically, this is what happens. It is a sausage-making process. The sausage goes through the first one, the sausage goes through the second one, then they kind of try to figure out whether they like the sausage or not. And then, of course, it goes on eventually to something else, which I believe is probably Act
3. Karen.
Okay, Act 3 is the closing night, and the next 10 days to day 105 is when the budget is passed. This usually involves conference committee action between the House and Senate to pass a bill that they agree on, which hopefully doesn't turn into something more difficult. It's difficult to keep up with the action here. The governor's work continues with action on the bills that pass out of the second chamber. And
then we have Sine Die next April 25th at 2027. And we have a budget passed. Audience participation is to celebrate successes. And don't forget to thank your legislators for supporting bills that you wrote to them about. And continue to develop that relationship. And so here's where the theater people say, and scene, you're done. But you're not done. There's an epilogue, and Karen Tweet has some epilogue information here.
Okay. I'm starting to realize why I've never been in theater.
But we all stepped up to do this, so yay.
Okay. So, bills that are approved by both chambers go to the governor for action to sign, partial veto, or veto. And for bills that are completed after sine die or go to the governor at the end of the session, he has, or she, if ever, has 20 days to sign the bill. And encores, we hope for no encores. There have been times when we got to the end of the session, we didn't have a budget. And there was one year during the Great Recession that the legislature didn't finish the budget till the end of June, barely before the next biennium started. So hopefully no encores. And then spin-offs, I've talked about the spin-offs, implementation of bills, initiatives, and then we start watching for bills for next sessions. And like we heard from Senator Bateman this morning, this is a time where it's a good time to go talk to legislators when they're not so consumed with sessions. And then the sequel will be the next short session. So this next session will be the 2027 budget session, a long session, and then we'll have a short session that begins January 10th, 2028.
Okay, in your audience participation role, well, the governor budget, and he can still do vetoes and then attend any signings of bills that you worked on. And we end scene again, and it's the end of our production here. So thank you all. And we are not going to have time for maybe we will have time for one question. We would like to collect your 3x5 cards so that those will be ideas and things that we can use as we do our lobby team retreat this summer to move into this next session. If you want a personal reply on something, put your email on there and we'll get back to you. And as we are exiting, because I have to really exit, please, we have a treat for you. Rewards for being part of action. And thank you to Karen Pesey for a great little treat bag back there for you. So go check it out. It's kind of fun. So thank you for coming to our Theater in Action.